Flash Fill is possibly one of my favorite utilities in Excel. And Flash Fill hasn't been around forever. It was introduced in Excel 2013. And if you find yourself having to split up data or even combine data from different columns fairly frequently, Flash Fill is going to be your best friend. This takes all of the hard work out of it. So the best way to demonstrate Flash Fill is to really dive into some examples. And I've got 3 different examples to show you here. So in this first example, in this first table, notice that I have a list of employee names. And what I've been asked to do is break up the full name into a column full of first names and a column full of last names. Now, before the introduction of Flash Fill, it was possible to do this, but you would have to use the text to columns utility or possibly use an Excel formula. But now we have Flash Fill, so this is a piece of cake. So let me show you how it works. All you need to do is basically tell Excel what you want the pattern to be. So in the first name cell, I'm going to type in how I want the first one to look. So I basically just want it to list out my first name. I'm going to press Control Enter to stay in the same cell, and then I'm going to invoke the Flash Fill tool. And we find Flash Fill up on the data ribbon. In that Data Tools group in the middle there, we have a Flash Fill button. Let's click, and would you take a look at that? Like magic, it recognizes the pattern and it copies it down. And the best thing about this is that there are no underlying formulas that you need to get rid of or are going to cause you any problems. Let's do the same, but this time we want to complete the last name. Once again, we just need to type in what the pattern is going to be. Control Enter to stay in the same cell, and we can invoke Flash Fill in an entirely different way. So if I press Enter just here, as soon as I start to type, the second name goes down the rest of them and basically says to me, is this what you want to input? I can quickly do a visual check. Yes, those are all of the last names, so all I need to do is hit the Enter key to accept that. So nice and easy. We could even use Flash Fill to complete email addresses for people as well. Now there is a bit of a caveat to this, and that is that everybody needs to have the same email address. And more often than not, if you're filling down a list of people that you work with, you're all going to work at the same organization, and so you're all going to have the same email address. So what I can do here is again give Excel the pattern. So I want Excel to pick out that I want the person's initials at, and then we're just going to say companyx.com. Control Enter to stay in the cell. And a third way that I can invoke Flash Fill is to basically highlight all of the cells that we want to fill and use the keyboard shortcut Control E. And again, take a look at that. It's recognized that I want the initials of every single employee, and then it's put companyx.com. We could also utilize Flash Fill if we want to extract parts of an order number, or maybe an invoice number, or a part number, something like that. For example, all of these long order numbers have ORD at the beginning. I don't really need that part. I just want to extract the last 3 characters. So once again, we can use Flash Fill for that. 1, 2, 3 is what I want to extract, and I can use any of the Flash Fill methods. So Control Enter to stay in the same cell. I'm going to select all the cells I want to fill and Control E to fill those down. So quick and simple. The final example here is another way that we can extract different parts of a product name. So in the product name column, you can see that I have red shirt and then I have the item code, and I basically want to split this up so we have the color of the product name, and then the item code in 3 separate columns. So for this, I can say red, Control Enter. I'm going to highlight and Control E to Flash Fill down. Next, I want the product. So let's tell Excel what the pattern is. Control Enter. And this time, I think I'll use my Flash Fill button to fill those down. And then finally, we need to type the item code 123. Let's hit Enter. And this time, if I start to type the next item code, it's going to fill them all down for me, and I can simply hit Enter to accept.